our details in a database.
That's correct.
Okay. So, but my problem for now, I've not really gotten to that stage where I'll create the database. My problem for now, I'm trying to implement authentication using identity.
Okay.
Yeah, so the app I'm trying to create needs two roles. So I'm trying to create a app where teachers come in, they register and then put their details. And then parents also come in, they register and look for teachers. So basically I need two roles, the role of a teacher and the role of a parent. So whatever the parent is saying is quite different from what the teacher is saying. Already I tried using just a simple authentication, that kind of work, but I've been trying to look for resources to get the roles authentication working, but I haven't quite seen any. So that's where I think I need assistance.
Right. So since everyone is doing an MVC app, I think we should just switch to MVC and get that authentication authorization thing done.
Oh, Vincent, can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah. So if you are going to use a web app, is it possible to do a post request with web app?
Yes, you can.
So you can do post request, get request, put and delete.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do web app then.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds so easy. Oh my God.
Okay, so wait.
Vincent.
Yeah.
Hello.
I can hear you.
Okay. So we are currently tasked with building a kind of like booking system per se. So it's kind of like, a user is able to like select an house.
Use this one.
Hello.
Before you answer me, I don't give you plenty question. You answer the three of them.
Okay, I had to mute everyone, sorry. Please, when you're not speaking, can you remember to mute your mics, please? It's important that we remember, please. All right, does anyone have a question? Isaac, you can go ahead.
Hello, Vincent.
Yeah.
Okay, my team and I were asked to build a website where users can log in and see restaurants, more like Jumia, where you see different items to buy. But in this web site is more like you're seeing food with prices, so you get to compare.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one of these projects and actually do a quick rundown of the project here. It's going to have basically most of the things you're talking about. Give me a second, I just need to.
Okay.
So let's just do a project, right, end to end, including the authentication, authorization, because I see that most people actually need it. And don't worry about all of this. I just need all of this to kind of just refresh on web apps. I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'll create a new project. So .NET new. So this is the one you're familiar with, MVC. .NET new MVC demo web app. Actually, that's a mistake. .NET new MVC.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, Vincent.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are actually, tasked with something similar to a booking system where the like user is able to book for a resort and also for an accommodation. So at the end, it should be able to make a payment. So I think this is like a very, very brief run through. So like what we are actually, looking at is being able to like probably like say add the accommodation and the particular vacation center is choosing to something like a list or like a cart. And so like now, when it's ready, it will now be able to like, and process the particular payment. So, and like, of course, also now normal login and sign up system. So I think this is just, like everything we're currently trying to work with right now. So don't really know how to go about this.
Okay, we're going to touch on that. Just I just want to quickly finish my setup.
Okay.
Hello, hello, Vincent. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Yeah, when you added the new scaffold item, the identity, were you shown the box where you have to select all of these account, status, message, lockout, and all of those stuff?
Yeah, but you shouldn't do that. I'm only doing this because so when you go create your own project, don't scaffold. I'm going to show you the proper way to do it. I just want to be able to copy all the HTML and CSS from the view because I don't have all of that. So this is the file we're talking about. Right?
I shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a familiar project template here, right? Come on. Microsoft Visual Studio. Yeah, we'll be using identity and entity framework, yes. Hi, Leo, you still can't see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Leo said he can't see my screen. You can't see my screen? Can you try leaving the session and rejoining?
If you could leave the chat section, you'll be able to see it.
Yeah, can you just, you said?
I can see it, that's all.
Oh, you can see it now? So the way they did identity in the new version, it's kind of different, but I'd advise you stick to MVC pattern. I'm just doing this here so I'll get the necessary HTML and CSS I need. Now this is HTML and CSS that will come from your front-end person. This HTML and CSS I want to copy out of this project. This is the HTML and CSS that should come from the people doing your HTML and CSS. Why? Yeah, you can continue the Visual Studio. It really doesn't matter. I find it to, I mean, recently I found Visual Studio to be much for most of the work I do. let's hope this works this time. And some of my issues with Visual Studio, all of this generation and all of that, it's really takes up the time for nothing. Meanwhile, we're going to come back to the project. We want to do the whole user login and all of that part, right? We have controllers here. We have our home controller. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new controller, account controller. Accounts controller, and this controller is going to handle everything that has to do with login, log out. Account controller.cs, once again our namespace. Now there are extensions you can just add to Visual Studio Code to help. Or I prefer to just type it in. So namespaces, demo web app. Generate from control line. And then I have public action results, and this time let's name this register. So this is the action that's going to be called when someone wants to register for an account, right? Awesome. And like before, we need to create a model. So we already have a models folder here. I'll just go in here and say new file. I'll call it create user. Let's start from our request model. Folder called request models.
Hello?
And then within my request model, I'll say create
I can hear you.
the request model. Please, if you're not mute yourself. So namespace then with api.models request models. Correct this. To create and then I can create this class. And what properties should this class have, right? So this, so what are the details someone creating an account should have? They should have an email, right? We'll say public string email. And they should have a password. They should send us a password. Public string password. And then they should confirm the password. Public string confirm password. All right, that's great. So this is just for this part. And then we go to our accounts controller and we tell our accounts controller that it's going to receive a create user request model. I need to name it model, or it can be whatever you want. You can put this user. And I'm just going to add return view here. This is going to be a HTTP post. I need to add the using statement for this. Let me return view now, return view result. I'm just going to leave that for now. So let's see if Visual Studio succeeded. Awesome, it did. So I just need some of the pages here. So instead of putting it in the views, it put it somewhere else, which we don't want that. So that's why I created that project. We're going to come to our views folder and create a new folder called accounts, which is going to hold the views for creating accounts. Within this, I'm going to add a new file and I'll say it's register.cshtml. And I'm going to come to these views. I'm going to just copy out. Let's see. So I just want this HTML that has the username and password and all of that. I'm going to copy all of this, and I'll just modify the relevant parts and just explain what it does as we modify it. So first of all, we need to tell our page which model we're using, and that is why we created a model here. So the model we're using is create user request model. So on your register page, you need to specify what model you're dealing with. We don't need this page attribute here. Then for our model, I'm just going to say it's demo web app dot controller dot models dot request models dot create user request model, right? And I just have that here. Basic HTML, right? So we're creating a form which is going to submit something back, right? We've done this. We have a form which is going to submit something back. We have a H4 which says create new account, and we have a label, our input field. Except now we don't have inputs at email and all of that. So here instead we're going to have email. Let's look at our model again and just be sure. Okay, we have email, password, and confirm password here. So instead of inputs, it's email here. We have email here too. So we kind of just one-to-one mapping this input and validation fields from our model to our view. And if you notice before we're using view bag, instead of view bag now, we're just actually using properties in our model in the view here. And so whatever you enter into these input boxes, for example, whatever you enter into this input box is going to map to this password part and eventually pass all of it to our controller as you see here. I don't know if that makes sense or anyone has any question. Oh, okay, Angela, yeah, here's where it is. So what else? So instead of input the password here, I just change this to password to, and then there's a confirm password. This is another confirm password. I'll just take this here. And then this is the register part. Now, we don't need this. So this is if you want to log in with, say, Google or Facebook or Twitter authentication. ASP.NET can do that, but we don't need all of this. So I'm just going to remove this. I'm going to remove all of this too. Great. So our method is post, our action. We need to specify which of the actions we want it to go to. So the action is register. If you remember from previous videos, so because we have a HTTP post register here, this is a mistake. This should be controller. That is why this view wasn't working, not controllers. I'll just create another action here, the get version of this action results, register, and this one takes nothing and it just returns a view. I'm going to put a breakpoint here so we can debug and see if what we're doing here works. I'm going to, and this looks okay. I'm going to put the controller attribute on this one. And then I believe that's it. Is there anything I'm missing? I'm going to go ahead and run this and see if it works. And if you notice, for now, we're not actually doing anything with this. We just created our login page. The next step is going to actually take those details and put it in a database. So running it now. When we're done with this project, I can push it to GitHub and give you guys the link so you can just use it as a reference to work. Okay, so it's running on port 5000. Oh, it's loaded already. So I just have to go to /account/register and hopefully it works. So you see, I have my create a new account, whatever here. And then I'm just going to say my email, my password, let's see, super secret password, confirm password, super secret password. Okay, and then I'll click register. And it has hit my breakpoint, right? And then if I check my model, so I have the string called my email, password, and confirm password. And now I can do whatever I want to do. The first thing to do is check, does this user already exist? And if the user already exists, you send an error back saying this user already exists, right? If the user doesn't exist, you now take these details and you put it in a database. So let's talk about the database part. How do we put these details in a database? So the way to work with a database is you need to configure a database into your application. And the way to do that, you create a new folder called data. It doesn't have to be data, but it just makes things easier. If I open your .NET project and you're working with databases, I expect to see a data folder and I expect to see your data context class in that folder. You can put it wherever you want, but it's just easier for other people and for you to work if there are conventions. I'll create a data folder. I'll create a new file there. I'll call it application DB context. This is a special file that communicates with your database. And there's not much to it. It's not, there's nothing very in-depth you have to know about it. You just need to know how to work with it and how to make it do what you want it to do. Demo app.data. So demo the data, and I have public class application DB context. Sorry. So I have my application DB context right. Now someone asked me something about adding NuGet packages, and this is where we actually need a NuGet package. So this is where we actually need a NuGet package so we use a package called Entity Framework Core to handle interactions between our database and our, what's it called? And our C# code. So we're actually going to have a database running in SQL Server, and then we have our database context file. And for that, we need a package called Entity Framework. I'm just going to go here and grab the link. Give me a second. And in this, I just minimize this. So in this project, you can see I have a number of projects here. This is the thing I need. Microsoft.asp.NET Core.identity.entity framework core. I'm going to copy the name. Or do you know what? I'm just going to do it from here. So notice that I'm in the project folder. I'm in the root folder here, demo web app. And if I do ls, I can see the CS proj. So it's necessary to be able to see the CS proj from whichever folder you run the command. So I'm just going to say .NET add package. So this is how you add a new package. .NET add new package. .NET add package. Microsoft.asp.NET Core .identity.entity framework core. So this is the NuGet package I want to add. It allows me to talk to a database and still use identity in my project. I'll hit enter. And that's it. I can go back to my project and work with it now. It knows all I need about databases. If I open my CS Proj file, you see that I have a reference to a package. It means whenever I'm about to run this application, it's going to pull in this package and help me and let me use it. So now I can come here and make this a DB context. Remember, the way we make a class a controller is by inheriting from controller. The way to make a normal class a DB context is by inheriting from, I take it, identity DB context. Yeah, identity DB context. So immediately I inherit from identity DB context, this becomes a database context class. It knows how to talk to a database and all of that. I'm simply going to open this one. There's a bunch of code. Okay, so identity DB context, and then the constructor, it's also necessary. So you need this constructor. And all this constructor does is simply takes in a DB context options with these square brackets with the name of the class. So this is all standard stuff that you can just copy and put there. You really have to interact with this class after this initial setup. So our database context class is ready. Now we need to actually tell our application that, okay, we're using a database context class. And the way to do that is to go to our startup. Okay, guys, just know immediately the meeting drops, I'm going to restart it. And all you have to do is just join. So we can just pick up from where we stopped. I hope that's clear.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
so,
okay.
yeah, the namespace starts from your project name. So the namespace starts with your project name and then with whichever folder that class is inside. So if you notice, my project name is demo web app and this class is inside the data folder. So it just goes like that. So if I create a class inside controller, my namespace is going to be demo web app.controllers. I hope that's clear. And when I create a class inside models, the namespace is going to be demo web app.models. Because I have a class inside request models, it's demo web app.models.request models. So it just follows the folder pattern right inside. So yeah, I have my application DB class now. I'm going to go ahead and open my startup.cs. And now I need to tell my application that, okay, I'm working with a database in this project. The way to do that is to come here and say, services.add DB context pool, and then you give it your DB context class. My DB context class is application DB context. Application DB context, and I added the user statement. I'll open a bracket, and then I'll say options equals options dot use SQL Server. So because I want to use, so what you type here is going to depend on what database kind you want to use. And in this project, I want to use SQL Server, the local DB we all installed. I'm going to comment this out because I need the package to be able to use SQL Server. Give me a second. So I need this package, Microsoft Entity Framework Core.SQL Server to use SQL Server. So in the same way, I'm going to type in .NET Add package, Microsoft Entity Framework Core. Core.SQL Server. The casing you use doesn't really matter as long as it's correct. And that just adds it to my project. Great, so it's in my project now. If I go back to my CS Proj file, I see that I have a second entry here. So it knows that I'm using SQL Server in this project now. And I can come back here. Sorry. I'll uncomment this and say options dot use SQL Server. And see, I now have those using statements to bring in, and I need to pass in the connection string. So every database has a connection string. We're going to talk about that in a bit, but for now, I'll just say, let me bring this down so it doesn't span over too many lines. Configuration dot configuration dot get connection string, and then I say default connection. I'll show you why we're doing this in a bit. All right, great. So we've told our application. So now our application is aware that we're using a database. I'm just going to hold off here so that I'll drop the meeting here. Yeah, so I don't understand. You have to install for each project. So if you're doing a project and you know you need a database in that project, you add the NuGet package to that project. So that's how and then for some projects, you need to do some cryptography. You go and pull in the NuGet package for cryptography. For some projects, you might need to talk to a payment provider. You add the NuGet package for that payment provider. But don't sweat it. You're going to get used to it as you start to do it. I'm going to drop the meeting here so everyone can just rejoin. And let me confirm that this recording is done.